Hong Kong? I didn't know you were going there.
Oh, just a few days, then I'm going on to Kuala Lumpur.
Look, you'd better send Foster a telex.
My visit to Hong Kong was interesting and useful. It would certainly be a place to include in our tour programs. Carol Cheng was a delightful companion, but I was very suspicious of Carol's boss, Paul Schultz. What exactly were his plans? And what was his connection with Helen Elliott? While I was in Manila, I'd learned that Helen was going to meet Schultz in Singapore. Now I was back in Singapore myself. From the airport, I went straight to Sadrina's office. Sadrina had put off our meeting twice, and I was wondering what news he would have for me.
Come in, please.
Mr. Sadrina, Mr. Foster to see you.
Ah, show him in, please.
Mr. Foster?
Mr. Foster.
Mr. Sadrina.
Nice to meet you at last.
Thank you.
Do come and sit down. What do you think of your first trip to the East?
Well, I'm enjoying it all very much.
Good.
And I'm learning a lot, too. I appreciate all the help that I've been getting from your staff and your associates.
Not at all. I am only sorry we could not meet up before this.
So am I. I was beginning to think that we'd never see each other.
Yes, I am sorry about that, too. It must have caused you a great deal of inconvenience. Especially as you are working to such a tight schedule. Come in. May I offer you some iced tea? I usually take it at this time of day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's good.
I'm glad you like it.
Mr. Sadrina, can you tell me about Paul Schultz? How deeply is he involved in our project?
Mr. Schultz, well, we have been negotiating a deal involving all three companies, and I am hoping that we shall finalize something with Geneva Travel in the next few days.
I see. Do you happen to know where Mr. Schultz is at the moment?
As far as I know, he is on his way to visit a business contact in Kuala Lumpur. Why do you ask?
I'd like to have a talk with him.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Schultz said that he would get in touch with you if there was something important which he thought you ought to know.
Mr. Sadrina, are we sure that Mr. Schultz is acting in the best interests of this project?
I'm sorry, I don't quite follow.
While I was in Hong Kong, I met a business colleague of his. A girl named Carol Cheng. Perhaps you've heard of her.
Yes, I think I did meet her once.
Miss Cheng left me in no doubt that Geneva Travel intends to start tours to this region.
We need Mr. Schultz in this project as much as he needs us.
But why? You have such an effective network of offices in the region. Why can't Marsden and Sadrina operate tours without Schultz?
Well, in the first place, Geneva Travel will give us access to clients in other parts of Europe. And then, costs are rising all the time. Our original estimates have increased by more than 40%.
Yes, I realize that. but from what I've heard, Paul Schultz may not be the best person to help us meet these increased costs.
Mr. Foster, one day you will come to understand that everything in the travel business is a calculated risk. I think you're being a little unfair to Mr. Schultz.
You think so? Then can you tell me why he arranged to meet Helen Elliott? Right here in Singapore.
Schultz meeting with Helen Elliott.
Mr. Sadrina, I know I may not have much experience in the travel business, but I can assure you of one thing. Helen Elliott's activities involve something more than travel journalism.
I see. Well, I will pass this information on to Mr. Marsden as soon as I see him. I am flying to London tonight. In the meantime, what do you propose to do about Helen Elliott?
I intend to find out exactly what she's up to. Is there anybody here in Singapore who might be able to tell me something about Helen Elliott's background in the travel business?
Yes, there is. But because we want as few people as possible to know about the project, I would prefer not to involve my staff in your inquiries.
I understand.
You're not exaggerating Miss Elliott's importance, are you?
No, I don't think so. Mr. Sadrina, let me tell you something. I have complete faith in this project, and I'm determined not to let anyone undermine it.
Undermine the Sadrina Project? Helen Elliott's a travel journalist, that's all.
No, I'm sorry, Ron. I'm worried about her. She could be out to ruin Foster's reconnaissance and wreck the whole scheme.
But just look at Foster's reports. According to them, this Miss Elliott has actually been helping him rather than causing trouble. If you don't mind my saying so, it's Sadrina who's been making Foster change his itinerary and upsetting his plans.
Well, Sadrina probably had very good reasons for doing so. No doubt we shall learn about them when he gets here. Yes?
Mr. Marsden, Mr. Sadrina's flight from Singapore has been delayed.
Keep in touch with the airline, will you? Make sure there's someone to meet him at the airport when he gets here.
Yes, Mr. Marsden.
Someone's upsetting Sadrina's itinerary now.
Helen Elliott, perhaps.
Sadrina advised me to make inquiries about Helen at the Singapore Tourist Promotion Board. I had fixed an appointment for the next day.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes, hello. My name is David Foster. I have an appointment with Mr. Lin.
Oh, could you please proceed upstairs? He's waiting for you.
Thanks very much.
You're most welcome.
Mr. Lin, Mr. Foster, the CEO.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Lin. Foster. Good morning. Please take a seat. Thank you very much. It's my card. Thank you.
Yes, what can we do to assist you, Mr. Foster?
Well, I'd like to get some information about travel firms or individuals that operate or may have operated in Singapore.
Yes, I think we can help you out.
The person I'd like to inquire about is Miss Helen Elliott.
Well, as far as I know, there's no Miss Elliott working with any STPB associate member company.
Well, is there any way of checking if Miss Elliott has been registered as a travel agent?
Yes, I think we can assist you in this regard.
Good, fine.
Is there anything else we can do to assist you, Mr. Foster?
Mr. Lim gave me a lot of useful information about tourism in Singapore and about the work of the Tourist Promotion Board.
And we have 5 overseas offices, one of which is located in London. They can be of assistance to you also.
Thank you. Well, I don't think there's anything else. I shall pop back before I leave Singapore. I shall be in Singapore for a few days. Perhaps you could take my phone number on this card and contact me if there's any information on Helen Elliott. Next, I called at Helen's hotel. Excuse me, I was wondering if you could help me. Is there a Miss Helen Elliott staying here?
Miss Elliott? Yes, she is. But I think she's gone to Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur?
One moment, I check.
Thank you.
Sorry, she's not going until end of this week.
Ah. Is she in her room?
I'm afraid her key is here. She must be out. Would you like to leave a message for her?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Welcome.
What I've done is left a phone number for her to contact me. But could you ask her not to phone me until later in the day, as I have some important business to attend to?
Certainly. I give it to her personally.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yes, that'll be fine, Linda. Now, I'd like you to help me make some appointments. I've got one or two fixed up already. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to the airport to watch a training exercise.
Oh, don't forget your passport for the security area.
Yes, of course, thanks. Thursday, I'm going to lunch with someone at the Handicraft Centre. Well, I've got lots of other people to see. I'll need at least an hour with Mr. Yo. And I'd like to see all these people on that list. Okay?
Fine, well, why don't you leave this with me, and I'll call you when I have the appointments arranged.
Okay, fine. What we need to do now is to fix up the next part of my itinerary. When I leave Singapore, I'd like to spend a few days in Kuala Lumpur, and then go on and see another part of Malaysia.
When will you be leaving for Kuala Lumpur?
Have to be Friday morning. Fairly early flight. How long does it take to get there?
It's a 45-minute flight.
Good. Can you see if there's a flight about 8:30?
Fine, I'll arrange that. Excuse me. Hello? Yes, he's here. 1 minute, please. There's a call for you, Miss Foster.
Thanks.
David?
Is that you, Helen?
Yes. I just got your message. What a surprise. When did you get into Singapore?
I flew in from Hong Kong yesterday.
Hong Kong? I didn't know you were going there. How long are you going to be in Singapore?
Oh, just a few days, then I'm going on to Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur, did you say?
Helen, I'd like to see you again. Is there any chance of meeting up?
Yes. Yes, of course. What do you suggest?
I'm doing something rather interesting at the airport tomorrow. Would you like to come?
Okay.
Well, Helen wasn't trying to avoid me anyway.
No?
She accepted my invitation to take part in a training exercise for airline staff.
This is Freeman.
Yeah.
Is your drink here, please?
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman?
Yeah.
No, just this one. Welcome. Mrs. Jones, you ordered an orange?
Now, David, I want you to tell me everything you've been doing since I last saw you.
As a matter of fact, there's one or two questions I'd like to ask you.
Yes?
How's Paul Schultz?
Excuse me, madam. This is your lime water here.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you.
Right. Now, you should be aware that the passengers are talking, and you should wait for a convenient moment to interrupt and serve the drinks. And you should also address the passengers by name, right?
I do wish you wouldn't be so upset, Helen.
I'm not upset. It's just that I feel on trial. So many questions.
Well, what do you expect? I heard in Manila that you were coming back here to interview Paul Schultz.
Look, David, I'd like to make this quite clear. I am not in Singapore just to see Paul Schultz.
Excuse me, Miss Foster. Mr. Drink?
Thank you.
Mr. Peanut?
Thank you very much.
That's right, Evangeline. That's good. And that's the way you should always serve our passengers.
Your champagne, Mrs. Sloan? Thank you.
I'm beginning to wish I'd never come with you to see this.
What's the matter, Helen?
Nothing. Look, David, I'm sorry, but I just don't see the point of all these questions.
Why not? You've got nothing to hide, have you?
Excuse me, Miss Anne. Can I offer you some lobster tomato, lamb cutlet, chicken Maryland, and some roast beef, please?
Lobster, please.
Thank you.
Just a moment, Anne. You should offer Miss Elliot a choice of vegetables before you serve them.
Miss Elliot, could you get for some carrot, mushroom, or potatoes, please?
Just carrots and mushrooms, please.
Mr. Foster, can I offer you, please?
Well, I think I'll have the roast beef, please. I'm sorry if I've upset you, Helen. I promise not to ask any more questions, okay?
You haven't upset me, honestly. I told you. I forgive you.
Good. Then why don't we travel to Kuala Lumpur together?
What?
Well, they told me at the hotel you're going there tomorrow. We could travel together.
That'd be terrific.
Good. Well, my flight leaves about 8:30 in the morning. We could meet at the check-in about 8 o'clock.
Super.
Good.
Your attention, please. Will all passengers on Singapore Airlines SQ112 please proceed for immediate embarkation?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Are you going to Kuala Lumpur?
Yes.
Any baggage, Mr. Foster?
There's a suitcase and just this hand baggage.
$2, please. Airport tax.
$2.
Thank you. Have you any seat preference?
Non-smoking, please. Do you know if a Miss Helen Elliott has checked in?
Just a moment. I'm afraid she's not on the flight.
Do you know if she's on any other flight at all?
I'm sorry, I don't have that information, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Your attention, please. This is the final call for the departure of flight SQ112.
The window seat non-smoking, okay?
Window seat, non-smoking. That'll be fine.
All right, here you are. Boarding at gate number 2.
Thank you.
Mr. Foster, the boarding card.
Oh, thanks very much.
Your attention, please. For all passengers on flight SQ112 to Kuala Lumpur, please proceed to departure channel 2 for embarkation.
Hello? Hello? Is Miss Helen Elliott still at the hotel? Helen Elliott. Oh, she checked out. Do you know if she's taken a taxi to the airport? Oh, you don't? Thank you very much. Where has she got to this time?
För den som vill lära sig mer engelska finns kursbok och annat material från Utbildningsradion.
Och det 10:e avsnittet sänds med engelsk text som vanligt nästa måndag, men då en timme senare än vanligt. Alltså klockan 13:30 här i TV1. En otextad version av det 10:e avsnittet kan du se redan nu på söndag, men då på den nya tiden som är 15:15. Också den sändningen i TV1. I samarbete med BBC kan Utbildningsradion nu erbjuda The Sadrina Project som ett integrerat kurspaket med hela tv-serien på video tillsammans med kursbok, ljudkassett och lärarhandledning. Och vill du köpa någon eller några delar ur kurspaketet så går det också bra. Mer information om The Sadrina Project kan du få om du ringer Utbildningsradions försäljningsavdelning på telefon 08 784 6292 eller Utbildningsradions förlag telefonnummer 08 784 5629 under kontorstid.